Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our last lesson on human factors. We're going to talk about some interpersonal relationships. Here's a nice picture of a fist fight breaking out on a flight deck. It's pretty rare, but apparently it happened on an Air India flight a few years ago. And I can't remember what happened. Somebody had to restrain somebody, or it just the flight attendants had to get involved. It was pretty embarrassing anyway. Let's talk about some communication. So just a few tips for you. You always want to use clear and concise communication and only provide relevant information. You don't need to go on this long, drawn-out story about whatever and provide information that really the other person does not need to know. You want to use active listening so that when somebody communicates with you, you're actively thinking about what they're telling you. And also remember that as a pilot in command, you are in charge. So you still want to be polite with people, but remember that no matter what, as a pilot in command, if maintenance says, oh yeah, you're good enough, plane's good enough, and you don't feel comfortable with it, you say no. If air traffic control gives you a clearance that you are not comfortable with or an instruction, you can refuse it. And same thing goes with passengers. Don't allow passengers to influence your decision making. Pressures to complete a mission have killed many, many pilots. Be aware of flying when you have business or other pressures. So let's just say you're flying a small aircraft and you have to get to an urgent meeting, a wedding, a business meeting, something like that. You need to be aware of that because it may influence your decision making and you might end up making a poor decision. So remember, play nice in the sandbox, keep communications clear, and don't let operating pressures force you into a bad decision. Okay, question. If you have a dispute with ATC, you should A, remind them who is pilot in command. That's probably not a good idea. That's probably pretty arrogant. B, ask to speak to your supervisor. No, they're busy. The supervisor can't come on the radio and explain something. C, ask for their telephone number and call them on the ground. That's the correct thing to do. And they might ask you to, if they have an issue with you, they won't say it over the radio. They'll just ask you to give them a phone call on the ground. D, avoid any further communication. Well, that's a really bad idea because they have to give air traffic control. So if you stop talking to them, that would obviously be really bad. So the correct answer is ask for their telephone number and call them on the ground. That concludes this lesson on interpersonal relationships. We have one more video to go through, and then this ground school is done. We're going to just cover the review for human factors.